Bago pong lahat, para sa iba pang balita, huwag po muna ninyong kalimutan mag-subscribe sa JB News, i-like at i-share at i-on na rin ninyo ang notification bell para updated po kayo.
Alam nyo, itong isang araw lang po ay may lumabas na dating kadre ng NPA. Matindi ho ang kanyang mga binulgar. Revelasyon na kung saan sinasabi niya ang sistema ng pagre-recruit ng NPA. Ngunit kung meron man tayo talagang makikitang nakakabagabag dito, yung sinabi niya na ang Makabayan Black o yung mga representative ng Makabayan Black ay membro ng CPP NPA. Sinabi niya nga doon kung hindi sila mataas na opisyal dyan sa CPP ay hindi ho sila magiging representative ng kanilang mga party list. Sinabi niya na itong mga party list na ito ay may mga underground group kung saan talagang makikita mo ang ugnayan ng CPP NPA sa mga party list na ito.
Ang Marxismo, Leninismo at Maoismo ay mga library references ito sa Europe. Hindi ito ginagamit para baguhin ang lipunan. Itinakwil na ito ng Soviet Union, ng Russia, ng China, ng Vietnam, ng Cuba, even the North Korea. And yet, ang paniniwala ng CPP, NPA, NDF, ang solusyon sa ating bayan ay maitayo ang sistemang komunismo. At ang sistemang yan magsisimula sa recruitment sa Gabriela, Anak Bayan, LFS, ACT Teachers, ACT, LFS, Kabataan, Anak Pawis, Bayan Muna. Ang hindi na-address, itong pag-infiltrate ng schools, pagre-recruit ng mga senior high school, pagkawala ng kabataan mula sa FEU, pagkawala ng kabataan mula sa PUP, sa Santo Tomas. Umiiyak ang mga nanay, kagaya ng nanay kung umiiyak at mga nanay namin nang ma-recruit kami. We're turning only 18 years old that time nang ma-recruit kami ng mga kadre ng CPP, NPA, NDF. Nagsimula kami lahat sa legal na organisasyon. Quote-unquote. Kasi hindi yan purely legal. Akala mo lang legal muna. Kasi 3 months, 4 months thereafter, i-recruit ka sa underground organization. Kabataang Makabayan. KM. KM, kung ikaw ay youth and student sector. LFS, CGP, Anak Bayan, Student Christian Movement of the Philippines, NUSP, and then other organizations being infiltrated all over the country. Ito ang recruitment. They do not start right away into the underground. You start from the above ground. Anti-tuition fee increase, anti-dorm fees, lahat ng issue, including pakikialam sa issue ng mga manggagawa, welga, lahat. These are advocacies. These are legitimate, valid issues that demand correct, proper, and timely responses from the government to resolve. Yes. But it does not mean na ibabagsak mong gobyerno kung hindi na-solve ka agad. It does not mean papatay ka ng kapwa Pilipino, mag-aarmas ka, magbubomba ka, mga-ambush ka ng pulis, papatay ka ng sundalo na may nawawalan din ng mga tatay at mga pamilyang nang umiiyak, kagaya din namin pag namatay kami sa labanan.
Kaya ito ang hamon ko kay Speaker Velasco. Lagi mong sinasabi na malapit ka kay Pangulong Duterte, malapit ka kay Mayor Sara Duterte, lagi rin lumalabas sa news na malapit ka sa pamilya Duterte. Pero bakit mo pinagtatanggol ang Makabayan Black? Tandaan mo, ang lumikha at gumawa at namumuno sa NTF-ELCAC ay si Pangulong Duterte mismo. Ang NTF-ELCAC ang siyang mismo nagkukundina sa ginagawa nito mga Makabayan Black na ito. At ganun din si Mayor Sara Duterte. Siya mismo gusto niyang matanggal o ma-expel ang Makabayan Black sa Kamara. Pero bakit ikaw pinagtanggol mo pa ang Makabayan Black? Akala ko ba malapit ka sa Pangulong Duterte at kay Mayor Sara Duterte? Pero ba't hindi yung kagustuhan nila ang ginagawa mo? Baka namang ginamit mo lang sila para makaupo ka bilang speaker. Patunayan mo ngayon na ikaw ay para sa bayan at kundinahin mo at gumawa ka ng investigasyon dito sa Makabayan Black.
Speaker Lord Alan Velasco, I request and we request, let's suspend the rules. In Congress, we will face them. Face to face without parliamentary restrictions. And let us speak before the nation through your Congress, through our Congress. It's not their Congress, after all. Nandyan lang sila para kumuha ng pondo, sweldo, access sa proyekto at makapagpropaganda, makapag-submit ng resolution, pahirapan ang budget ng military, ng police, ng PCOO, lahat ng government agencies that support the national initiative to bring on the whole of nation and whole of government participation to put a decisive end to communist insurgency, lahat ng government agencies pinapahirapan nila sa budget hearing. And because of that, nagagamit nila ang objective na yan. Infiltrate Congress by sabotaging and creating wedge and rift within Congress and all politicians and get the funds. Hindi ko alam kung tama ako, Speaker Velasco, sir. Every congressman, congresswoman, tumatanggap yan ng 68 million na budget every year. That's not PDAF. It is a budget for your consultants, office, sahod, at iba pa. You can just imagine, mga kababayan ko, you can just imagine why the President right now is so serious to put an end. Saan ka nakakita? Only in the Philippines na ang mga Communist Party kadre na nagkukunwari at nagsisinungaling na nakaupo sa loob ng Kongreso, 6 sila. Pangangalanan ko isa-isa. Si Gaite, si Colyamat, si Sarati, si Ilago, si Brosas. Sinong hindi nakasama? Si Castro. Oh. Lahat sila miyembro at pinuno ng Communist Party in their own organizations where they belong. Siguro hindi ko yung isa-isahin, mahaba kasi yun. Bibigyan ko yun ng pagkakataon na magtanong. Pero, dinideny nila ito. And yet, they cannot condemn the CPP and PNDF. You can imagine 408 million pesos. Tama bang math ko? 68 million times 6. Diba? It's around 400 million. At walang ibang ginawa itong 6 na ito. Simula 2001 pa, ang mga party list na ito na kinreate namin sa CPP, they are all for the overthrow of the government. And yet, we are paying them inside Congress to do nothing but to attack, malign, and subvert the authority of the government and bastardize the democratic institutions like Congress that we have.
At sabi nga ng tong kadre na ito, suspend the rules. Haharap sila dyan sa kamera. Velasco, patunayan mo ngayon na ang na ikaw ay para sa mga magulang na nawalan ng mga anak dahil ni-recruit nitong mga NPA. Asa ng puso mo, Velasco? Huwag mong ipagtanggol yang Makabayan Black. Hinahamon kita kung totoo ka na malapit sa ating Pangulo. At para sa inyo mga kababayan, hanggang yang Makabayan Black na yan ay nandyan sa kamera hanggang makakatakbo sila sa eleksyon para tayong ginagatasan, binibigyan natin sila ng tax, binibigyan natin sila ng pera para pabagsakit ang gobyerno ni Pangulong Duterte, para sa mga NPA na pumapatay sa ating mga sundalo at sa ating mga lumads, para mag-recruit ng mga kabataan at gawing NPA. Yang pera mo, pera natin na pupunta sa Makabayan Black at ginagamit ito laban sa atin. Hahayaan ba natin to? Kung gusto mong lumaban at tumulong sa mga nakikipaglaban dito sa mga NPA katulad ni Ka Eric, share mo ito. Ipakita mo itong video na ito sa inyong mga kaibigan. Muli ako po'y nag-aaya sa inyo na sumali sa movement na ito na maging aktibo labanan ang CPP-NPA. Tayo'y mga ordinaryong Pilipino lamang. Ngunit tulad ng ginawa natin kay Pangulong Duterte noong 2016 na siya ay ating kinampanya at ginawang presidente, ngayon naman kailangan niya ang ating tulong upang masiwalat ang kabalastugan at kasinungalingan ng CPP-NPA-NDF. Maging aktibo ka sa pag-share, sa pag-like at subscribe sa mga ganitong YouTube channel kung saan lumalaban dito sa mga teroristang ito. Maraming salamat po. Ako po si Banat Bay.
A lot of parents want to know, kindly name the schools kung saan ginagawa ang recruitment ng mga NPA.
Ang number 1 talaga, UP. UP Diliman, UP Manila, PUP. And then, Santo Tomas, FEU. And then, halos mga state colleges and universities. Kaya, Chairman De Vera, tama ba, De Vera? And DepEd Secretary Briones, ma'am, sir, ma'am, kami na po mismo nagsasabi, exercise the power of your department to prevent recruitment. Do not fear or cower kung iharas kayo ng anak bayan at mamimintura ng inyong building. Ipahuli natin sa pulis ng vandalismo at ipahuli natin kung mangharas kung anong kaso, nasasanay silang inaharas nila palagi ang mga government officials. Kakasuhan, babastusin.
Yeah.
I call on Chairman De Vera. I call on Secretary Briones. Be strong, please. to prevent recruitment in schools. 90% ng mga kadre ng CPP and PNDF nanggagaling sa schools. Kaya kami lumalabas. Kaya kami nagre-risgo ng buhay namin. Because of that. Lahat kami doon nanggaling halos. Na nandito ngayon. At iba pa, nagaling sa Mindanao, Visayas, na hindi makapunta dito ngayon.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I will give a short update on the Super Typhoon Rolly. Please, yo.
Delayed lang yan.
And this presentation will be based on this following outline. I will give a situation overview, monitor the effects, and our preparedness measures. Now, for the situation overview, which is based on the PAGASA's latest severe weather bulletin. Next slide. Next slide. As of 5 o'clock this morning, the center of the eye of Super Typhoon Rolly made a second landfall over Tiwi, Albay. Following its first landfall in Bato, Catanduanes. And at 7 o'clock this morning, the center of the eye of Super Typhoon Rolly was located in the vicinity of Tiwi, Albay. Its strength is maximum sustained winds of 225 kilometers per hour near the center and gustiness of up to 310 kilometers per hour. And it is moving west-southwest direction at 25 kilometers per hour. It is forecast to exit the mainland Luzon landmass and emerge over the Philippine Sea tomorrow early morning. Now, the associated hazards brought by Super Typhoon Rolly. Rolly will bring heavy to intense with at times torrential rains over Bicol region, Calabarzon, Metro Manila, Marinduque, Romblon, Mindoro provinces, Bataan, Bulacan, Aurora, Northern Samar, Eastern Samar, Biliran, and the eastern portions of mainland Cagayan and Isabela. Flooding, including flash floods, rain-induced landslides, and sediment-laden stream flows or lahar may occur during the heavy or prolonged rainfall, especially in areas that are highly or very highly susceptible to these hazards. Tropical cyclone signals number 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 have been issued. There is a high risk of storm surge of more than 3 meters over the coastal areas of Catanduanes and Camarines Norte and the northern coastal areas of Quezon, including Polillo Islands and Camarines Sur. Shown in the slide are the breakdown of tropical cyclone wind signals issued from numbers 1 to 5, the regions covered, and the localities affected. These are available in PAGASA Severe Weather Bulletin. At present, typhoon signal number 5 is raised over Region 5, specifically Albay and Camarines Sur, while typhoon signal number 4 was raised over Calabarzon, Mimaropa, and other parts of Region 5 and the National Capital Region, while typhoon signal number 3 was raised over Region 3 or Central Luzon, the remaining parts of Calabarzon and Mimaropa not covered under typhoon signal number 4 and parts of Region 8. And the rest that are still with typhoon signals are number 2 for Region 1, parts of Region 3, 4B, 5, 8, and CAR, and lastly, number 1, Regions 1, 2, 6, 7, 8, and CAR. And the detailed areas included in these typhoon signals are shown below. And these are the monitored effects as of now due to Super Typhoon Rolly. based on the current projected track of Super Typhoon Rolly, an estimated population of 19.8 million are exposed to the typhoon within the 60-kilometer diameter and 31.9 million within the 120-kilometer diameter. These are composed of 4.2 million households within the 60-kilometer diameter and 7.1 million households within the 120-kilometer diameter. Of this exposed population, 1.3 million within the 60-kilometer diameter belong to the poor population, while 2.4 million within the wider diameter of 120 kilometers belong to the poor population. And the number of households made of light materials within this two diameters are 105 within the 60-kilometer diameter and 105,000 and 221,000 households within the 120-kilometer diameter. As of now, rather, these exposed population are from the regions 5, Calabarzon, Mimaropa, the NCR, Region 3, Region 1, 2, 6, 7, 8, and 9. And as of now, the total number of families and individuals preemptively evacuated numbered 96,543 families, composed of 346,993 individuals. As of now, there is no monitored casualties yet and cost of damage. These are the breakdown of the preemptive evacuations conducted in Region 3, Calabarzon, Region 5, and 8. And our preparedness measures. Next slide. We made use of the Free Mobile Alert Act or Republic Act number 10639, and we were able to send out 26 emergency warning alert messages through our telcos, Globe and Smart. And these are the breakdown of those emergency alerts and warning messages. As I earlier mentioned, preemptive evacuation were carried out. This is based on the issuance of the Operations Listo Protocol by the Department of Interior and Local Government, most especially in those areas within the critical typhoon path and within the inner diameter colored red. These are the areas which are the priority for the implementation of preemptive evacuation. The National Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Council Response Cluster, next slide please, were also activated at the national level and at the regional level in the regions directly affected by Super Typhoon Rolly. The Department of Social Welfare and Development, being the Vice Chair for Disaster Response, heads the operations of the response clusters of the NDRRMC. Here are the specific response clusters activated and their respective preparations. Next slide. For the Search, Rescue, and Retrieval Cluster being led by the Armed Forces of the Philippines, has prepared disaster response units as standby force in case assistance will be needed. A total of 4,181 personnel has been identified as ready forces. On the other hand, the health cluster being led by DOH has already prepositioned drugs, medicines, supplies, kits, and other commodities through the DOH Centers for Health Development and the Central Office. For the food and non-food items cluster being led by DSWD, family food packs have been readied in several strategic locations all over the country. The cluster has also prepared the total available NFA and its quick response fund as standby fund. These are the figures indicated are stocks and funds of OCD, combined stocks and funds of OCD and DSWD. But we have no worry on this because requests for augmentations have already been sent to DBM as early as the other week. On the logistics cluster being led by OCD, with the collaboration and active participation of the logistics cluster member agencies, the cluster was able to develop an operational plan for Typhoon Rolly. And through the plan, the following assets have been committed for use in support of the response cluster operations. We have available 8 air assets, 66 seacraft, and 40 land transportations committed from the different agencies as shown: the Philippine Air Force, the Philippine Army Aviation Regiment, the Philippine Coast Guard, Bureau of Fire and Protection, MMDA, and DSWD. Still on the logistics cluster preparedness, shown is the identified main logistics hubs for the national response operations. The National Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Council Humanitarian Resource Depot at Clark, Pampanga has been identified as the alternate logistics hub of the National Council. The cluster also identified the regional warehouses that can serve as satellite logistics hub for northern and southern Luzon. The said facilities will be used as storage facilities for forwarding food and non-food items in critical areas. These are in Region 2 warehouse in the Regional Government Center in Tuguegarao City, in Clark, in Pasay, in Tacloban, in Legazpi City, as well as in Cebu City and Tacloban City. And these are the committed assets in case of the transportation of logistics and supplies from the warehouse identified. We have transportation assets committed by the PDRF, or Philippine Disaster Resilience Foundation, from the Northern Luzon Command of the Armed Forces of the Philippines, the DSWD, Southern Luzon Command of the AFP also from the World Food Program as shown. Depending on the origin of the logistics or supplies and in the case of power interruption, and of course we really have to immediately act on restoring those services and utilities. We have identified agencies who have committed to act on their task as lead agencies. For the power restoration, it is the DOE, as well as on the POL, or petrol, oil, and lubricants. For roads and bridges, it's the Department of Public Works and Highways, including for debris clearing. And for the water restoration, it will be led by LUA. For the network connection by DICT, and for toll and toll fees, port damages rather, and extending toll fee exemptions for disaster response movements, it is the DOTR. We also have identified agencies that will contribute repacking teams, as shown. These are from the Armed Forces of the Philippines, the Bureau of Fire Protection, the Philippine Coast Guard, and the PNP, in the event we have to repack food supplies at the warehouse of DSWD in Pasay City. Other preparedness measures of the National Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Council and the lower councils in the region and the local level. We conducted a series of pre-disaster risk assessment meetings starting as last week. We conducted preemptive evacuation instructions or issued preemptive evacuation instructions and follow-ups with our regional offices and local government units, issued typhoon warnings, advisories, and directives, and held physical and virtual emergency operations center. I would like to also mention that hooked up in this press briefing are our regional offices and OCD from Region 5 all the way to Region 1, including our regional offices in the Visayas. And at the national level, the response cluster of the National Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Council is on standby, ready to act in the event of the need for augmentation of resources to the local government units affected by Super Typhoon Rolly. This is the end of my presentation. Thank you and good morning.
Maraming salamat, Yusek Halad. Joining us also is PNP Chief Cascolan. Welcome, sir. Ang kapulisan po, ang bumbero at ang mga lokal na pamahalaan po ay nasa ilalim po ng DILG. Kasama po natin ngayon si Secretary Anyo. Sec, ano pong mandato natin sa mga institusyon nito?
Maraming salamat, Secretary. Unang-una pa lang, as early as August 28, ay nagpalabas na tayo through our regional offices ng mga LGUs para makapaghandang mabuti sa darating na super typhoon. Ang ating lahat ng provincial government, municipal at barangay ay nakapag-activate ng kanilang emergency operations center at nakapag-issue rin ng ating mga probinsya ng memo na walang sailing at magkaroon na ng mga forced evacuation sa mga lugar na malalapit sa baybay at karagatan. Ang ating mga barangay na apektado ay umikot sa kanilang mga constituents upang magbandilyo. At ang mga pamilya naman ay katulad ng report ni Yusek Halad ay nagkaroon na tayo ng massive evacuation. At ang ating pulis at bumbero ay nakapaghanda ngayon at meron sila mga search and rescue teams na nakahanda na upang tumulong sa ating mga kababayan na nalalagay sa alanganin. Ang ating mga local chief executives ay nasa kanilang mga kanilang lugar at nagmo-monitor, nagsusupervise ng mga pakulang aksyon. At nagpapasalamat tayo at kasama natin dito ang ating mga gobernador ng Bicol upang magbigay din sa kanilang update ng nangyayari sa kanilang mga lugar. So nakapaghanda tayong mabuti sa pagdating nitong typhoon na ito at sana ay kukonti lang ang casualty o sana ay zero casualty tayo. Maraming salamat po.
Secretary Anyo, kasama rin po natin siyempre ang kalihim ng Department of Health, Secretary Francisco Duque. Sir, mas komplikado ngayon ang sitwasyon sa mga evacuation centers dahil may COVID. Ano po ang ating instruction sa lahat ng health personnel natin?
Magandang umaga po. Maraming salamat, Spokes Harry, Roque at mga kasama ko po na miyembro ng NDRRMC. Ang akin lang pong bibigyan din ay nakahanda po yung ating logistical support sa halagang 26.5 million. Halaga ng mga gamot, medical supplies, ang mga health kits, kasama po ang mga personal protective equipment at ating pong mga COVID-19 supplies ay naka-preparation po ito by the different Centers for Health Development. At sa kasalukuyan, meron din po tayo nakahandang 21.7 million worth of additional supplies and commodities. Dito po ito sa ating DOH Central Office Warehouse. At ang mga aksyon po na atin isinasagawa at paghahandang inilalatag ay sa DOH Central Office, nakataas po ang ating Code Blue Alert. Ang ibig po sabihin nito ay ang mga kalahati ng ating mga empleyado ay ating pong pinag-report sa Central Office at mga iba pa pong mga health facilities. Nagpadala po tayo ng mga weather alert memorandum to all centers for health development, kasama po ang BAR, Ministry of Health at mga DOH retained hospitals patungkol po sa weather disturbance at activation of Code Alert and 24/7 Operation Center. Nag-issue din po tayo ng advisories to all CHDs to be affected by the typhoon for their proper guidance and assessment of temporary treatment and monitoring facilities for possible transfer of patients. Ito po yung tinatanong ni Spokes Secretary Roque kung ano po ang gagawin at akin pong iuulat yan maya-maya. Inalertuhan po natin ang mga ospital na siguraduhin na ang kanilang mga functional generator sets at ang kanilang adequate critical life-saving equipment ay nakahanda. At patuloy po ang pagmamonitor ng atin napakamalakas na bagyo sa pamamagitan din ng ating DOST Pag-asa. At we have been attending emergency meetings for Typhoon Rolly via video conference. In fact, ang latest ko na pakikipag-usap ay 3 a.m. this morning with our Region 5 Center for Health Development. But after that, di na po ako makakonekta. At sa atin naman DOH regional offices ay sa Region 5 naka-Code Red Alert. Ibig po sabihin nito ay lahat po ng ating mga empleyado hanggat sa kakayanin ay pinag-re-report po natin sa DOH, CHD at mga health facilities, lalo na po ang mga ospital at mga emergency room para po tumugon sa mga anuman emergency cases na pupunta sa ating pong mga health facilities. Naka-preposition ang ating mga gamot, ang mga PPEs at naka-alerto po ang provincial DOH offices at activated emergency operations center for Typhoon Rolly sa CHD 1, 2, CAR, 4A, 4B and Region and 5. At inalertuhan din natin ang provincial DOH offices na aktibong i-monitor at iulat ang mga insidente, ang mga disgrasya o ang mga napapahamak dahil dito sa bagyong ito at kanila pong tugunan nito ng sapat at maayos. At ang ating health emergency response teams naka-standby ready for deployment at continuous coordination with concerned provincial DOH offices or PIDOHO, ang provincial health offices or PHOs, ang Office of the Civil Defense, ang Regional and Local Disaster Risk Reduction Management Council.
Huwag kalimutang i-like, i-share at mag-subscribe sa aming Liana Vlogs News YouTube channel. Muli, ako si Angelica de los Santos. Magandang araw.